and profit from the arrival of Starlink today, OneWeb coming very soon, and in fact OneWeb is already in the market a little bit. We'll hear about that. Kuiper tomorrow and others. Telesat Lightspeed is also targeting the. So lots of low orbiting constellations after this market in a big way. And we have here three people talk about it. One is from Stefan Palumba from Network Innovations. They're based in Canada, but with a lot of activity in Asia. And Stefan, you'll be talking about Asia today, correct? Right. Okay. A lot of activity, and also dealing with Starlink, with OneWeb, with Inmarsat, with Intelsat maybe, with, you've got a lot of satellite capacity.
Yeah, I sleep with everyone.
You sleep with everyone, all right. So an easy guy here, Stefan. And Hisham Shafar, I've looked at his company today, TS Global Network, based in Malaysia. And you too have a lot of, months now of experience with Starlink, years of experience with the heritage providers of maritime connectivity, Inmarsat, now part of Viasat, and Iridium, and maybe Thurai as well a little bit, or no? Not Thurai, okay. So there's a lot of operators of managed services provision to the maritime sector who have said that Starlink is going to be horrible news. They're undercutting our prices. When you sign agreements with them, the profit margin is very low. It's just bad news. I'm not so sure that's true. And there's some recent testimony from some of these people saying that they have found out that Starlink is, in fact, good news for them because it's forced them to go into business areas or types of managed services that they wouldn't have gone into as fast. So Starlink has provoked a change that would have had to happen anyway, but we'll let them talk about that. But we're very happy to have these two very interesting fish here to talk about the maritime market. And then we have Novaspace, Stefan Chenard, senior, very well-experienced guy at Novaspace, former Euroconsult, who's not really a fish, but an amphibian, I guess, yeah?
Kind of octopus, maybe.
There we go. And Stefan will give us a broader view from his view as someone who's not paid to have one or another opinion, but is paid to look at the facts, some of the numbers. For example, we've heard recently, and you two guys are going to be asked to talk about this, has Starlink opened the margins a little bit? Is it now a little bit easier for you to operate in margins compared to what you had with Inmarsat or Iridium? So let me start with Stefan.
Which one?
No, the fish, not the amphibian. No, Stefan Palumba from Network. First, give us an idea of what your map looks like in terms of ships that you've got under management for connectivity. What percentage of those ships are using Starlink? If you could stick to the Asia Pacific, that would be good. And what has been the customer's reaction to it, and what has been your reaction to this new business model?
All right, thank you. So you don't want me to introduce myself?
I do.
All right. Hello, everyone. I am Stefan Palumba, Vice President for Business Development for Network Innovation. And I'm based out of Thailand, in small island named Phuket. And for people who do not know us, we are, so Network Innovation is a technology service provider based in Canada, in Calgary. And actually, I'm fighting every year to get APSCC in Calgary, but nobody wants to enjoy -20 in November, so I will try next year again. And we have a regional headquarters in Kuala Lumpur, in Malaysia, where we have our regional operation there with our NOC, our installers, and we are also service provider in Malaysia. And the maritime industry is actually our second biggest source of income for the company. And out of this income, I speak about mainly Asia Pacific. So we address two types of sector in the maritime. We are very, very focused on very, very niche. One of the sector we address is a fishing sector, the fishing industry. where we provide satellite connectivity, but we provide also any type of marine electronic, like the sonar, the radar, the VHF radio, any fuel management system and things like this. And of course the energy sector, which is very, very big, especially in Southeast Asia, where we serve most of the largest oil and gas corporation, like, Petronas, PTTEP, Pertamina, Exxon, Chevron, and I probably missed some, so you might forgive me for that. But in the energy sector, which is most of our revenue in Southeast Asia, we actually serve our customer mainly using Starlink. We are using Starlink, and when customers are asking for a higher reliability, we provide actually a complement with C-band. We do not provide Ku band with Starlink. We provide Starlink plus C-band or Starlink plus Starlink. So this is the two model we have, but we start to see some trends with Starlink going only with Starlink. So I can just give you an example. Tomorrow we are installing in Labuan a rig, and it's going to be only Starlink. And it's for Petronas licensee, but the user is Petronas, and they approve only for Starlink. So you have this trend that is changing, but so I don't know. People are asking me to say something bad about Starlink, but I don't have a lot of things.
No, it's a new big deal in the market.
Yeah,
and like any new big deal, it's
worth
commenting on.
So it just that in terms of reliability, you get a very good return of experience, and the main reason is because the burstable bandwidth is very, very high. So when you have some impact on the availability, you still have a very, very high bandwidth. So customers are not complaining so much about it.
So 1 second, when did you start installing Starlink for your customers?
2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago.
Not in Asia, but globally as a company. Our first Starlink
For Maritime.
Yes, it was 2022.
Okay, so you've got more than 2 years' experience in the high seas with a Starlink antenna.
Correct.
All right, that'll become important in a minute, because the reliability of that antenna with no radome is an issue. But so you've got 2 years of experience with Starlink, and you can now talk about reliability.
Yes, and actually many customers are, to improve the reliability, they are putting actually 2 Starlink antennas. That's how they do. Let me
move on to TS Global. Blue Curve, that's a nice name. Yep. We had Blue Origin, there's Blue Wave, now there's Blue Curve. That is your managed services offer, and I believe you have Starlink plus X. And X can be one of several types of VSATs, maybe L-band as well, but tell us about what your universe of business looks like in Maritime and how Starlink has changed it.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon. So let me introduce myself first. My name is Hisham Ghaffar. I'm a group CEO of TS Global Network, or in short is a TSGN. Actually, we have another company, we call it TSG International, which own all our facilities in Malaysia. So we are based from Cyberjaya, Malaysia. We operate on 5 acres of land in Cyberjaya to to put our cyberport or teleport in Malaysia. So actually we belong to a bigger group of Telkom Indonesia. So we are part of their subsidiary in which we operate from Malaysia, and actually we are being known as their international office outside Indonesia. So as Peter mentioned, that we are giving a full range of satellite band, in which we offering C-band, Ku band, Ka band, and of course Starlink as part of our portfolio, starting from for Starlink starting from June this year. So we are very new, in which this where we are more focused on non-satellite, non-Starlink business prior to that, in which our big chunk of our revenue actually coming from maritime, offshore kind of services, in which we are using C-band offering to our end customer, especially for the offshore and also for the vessels that somehow related to any oil and gas exploration in Malaysia. And we are using 0% of Starlink in maritime market in Indonesia. So we are focused on our own satellite, Merah Putih number 2, in which just been launched recently. So I can say that for us, we are not really focusing on Starlink only to promote our maritime or offshore services in these two countries, Malaysia and Indonesia, just because that in these two countries, normally the vessel or the boats is a bit small or medium size. So they don't need a bigger throughput, high throughput kind of satellite services. They just need a moderate, throughput for them to do a basic communication and also to do some sensoring, IoT sensoring or whatever. So they don't need actually 100 Mbps or 200 Mbps kind of throughput. They just need a moderate kind of throughput. So that's why C-band, KU-band is still for them to choose compared to Starlink. So I think that should be my introduction for the company.
Okay. Did I understand you using Starlink sometimes with something else? It could be C or KU or KA?
Yeah.
KA
I think for the medium size of vessel, normally we are putting C as for the captain bridge, and for the crew welfare, we are using Starlink for the normal internet broadband. So we hybrid between C-band for the captain to use, more reliable, more SLG, SLA kind of services, and for the welfare of the crew to use internet, we're using Starlink.
Okay. What just let me go back to Stefan for the same question. But what percentage? You've only had 6 months or so, no, 5 months to test out Starlink. What's your initial impression? What do you think on ships, on maritime only?
I think if let's say we are looking at the welfare of the crew, I think it's tremendously good, because normally the demand from the crew, especially for oil and gas, they need a very high throughput kind of services. So they are very happy with that kind of Starlink services. But for the captain bridge, normally they still need more higher SLA, SLG kind of services. So C-band is for them, and crew member is always Starlink.
Okay, this is not true for small fishing vessels, but for the bigger ships.
Medium and large.
So you would say that a large percentage of your medium and large vessel customers still want to have a service level agreement attached somewhere onto the contract.
Correct. Especially for the oil and gas, because they are paying very hefty MRC kind of thing. Yeah. They need more reliable services. Okay. In the sea.
All right, Stefan, you were talking about a customer who is just going Starlink. That's not a customer who needs an SLA, I guess.
No, many is crew welfare.
Okay.
Many is crew welfare. So actually, I'm in adequation with what Isham said. So we have the welfare, and you have also the critical service that are managed by the captain. So it's actually very similar. So when it's very, very high reliability, like CIR, like a guarantee of SLA in terms of bandwidth, like some customers, they even want dedicated capacity. So you have this kind of requirement, especially in the energy sector. Then we provide C-band. So very, very, very similar. Then we provide C-band. But it starts to become what I was saying is that we have this demand, but it starts to become niche. So it's not like every single oil and gas vessel is asking for Starlink plus C. The key ones, the big ones, are asking. But I just use the example that I started. We are doing a rig for Petronas tomorrow in Labuan. It's only Starlink. It's Starlink plus Starlink, and it's a rig.
Okay, so is the following statement true? The universe of customers who require some sort of service level agreement, committed information rate, guaranteed service levels, that universe is shrinking?
That's correct. That's correct. And one of the reasons is because the Starlink bandwidth is so high, the burstable is so high, that they will still have some bandwidth available. You know, it's like when you get 200 megabit and then suddenly, because of fading on whatever issue, it goes down to 10 megabit. It's still 10 times more than a C-band or a Caillou. So you still have this availability of bandwidth. And I speak about Asia Pacific, because you might not have the same experience if you are in North America, where the density of Starlink antennas is very high, so you actually get a lot of differences. But in Asia, I would say the satellites are empty. So you get very, very high bursts. So I don't know how long it will last, maybe a year, maybe 2 years. But at the moment, we all benefit from very, very high bursts in the region. And for people that are interested, if you go to the Starlink website and you click at any point of the map worldwide in the middle of the sea, so I don't speak about Malaysia, Indonesia, but you can actually see an average estimate of the speed at that point. And you will see that it goes at 220, 240 megabits. So that's actually an advantage. It's like any satellite. I mean, when Pacific was launched, the satellite was empty. When M3D was launched, they had plenty of capacity, so they had very, very high burst. So this is normal. It's just that the number of satellites that Starlink is launching every month is so big that you have plenty of capacity that is idle. So that's why you get a lot of availability.
What about, in question, let me start with you, Hisham, and then to Stefan. So Starlink is great for crew welfare. It's great for bandwidth. There's enough margin in the bandwidth that even if there's a problem, you have enough remaining to satisfy what an SLA might have covered before. So you don't need, some customers don't want those anymore, don't need those anymore. What about for your business? How do you compare as a business for you, the profitability of providing Starlink to your customers versus providing either C or KU or L?
For our group, because we have several satellites that actually belong to us, belong as to our bigger group, Telkom Indonesia. So we somehow can offer a very competitive pricing on our KU. So this where we can increase our margin because we are in control actually for the bandwidth capacity. So in terms of margin, I think if let's say we want to be in control, we're going to use our own satellite, Merah Putih number 2 or Merah Putih number 3, to offer what I call it a service to a maritime. Compared to Starlink, they are really controlling everything in terms of pricing of user terminal or airtime per se. So for our group, we are more relaxing in terms of margin or profit if let's say we are using our own satellite, in which we are putting a priority to use our own satellite first compared to using Starlink. Starlink, if there is a demand in the market, and then our colleague, they are really specifying that they want a Starlink as a service, then we give that kind of services. But if let's say they said just give us more any satellite services that are reliable, so we are pushing for services that are using our own satellite.
All right. And last one for Stefan before I go back to Novus Pass. After 2 years at the high seas with lots of saline solutions and rough weather and wind and all that stuff, are you putting covers on the radomes on the Starlink antennas or no?
You ask me?
Yes. You're the one with 2 years experience.
No, because we are losing warranty if we do this.
You lose the guarantee?
Yes.
What guarantee?
They have some warranty. Yeah.
Not a service guarantee.
I have to say that in terms of warranty, sorry. I'm feeling very relaxed. Now, in terms of warranties, for the moment, Starlink has some limitations. The repair centers are all in US for the moment. So in terms of warranty, what the Asian customer benefit is actually a complete advanced replacement. So when something failed, and it's proven that it's an issue with the Starlink system, Starlink accepts to replace it. So you get brand new ones. And in terms of model, you don't get this in actually, if your gyro fails, the ISP will not give you a brand new gyro, right? So in Starlink, they give you a brand new kit. And I think it's a big advantage.
Okay.
And I wanted to answer your previous question because I didn't finish at that time. Starlink is actually going to commit, starting January, SLAs on every single package. So you will get 99.9% SLA guaranteed on the service. So it's not going to be a best effort. So they are trying to provide this. We don't know the detail yet, so we need to check. Sometimes devil in the details, but they are moving towards actually an SLA package.
Hisham, have you heard this too, that they're going to move
Yeah,
into an
I
SLA?
think this is actually their counter strategy, to somehow capture the more geo-reliable kind of services.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is their counter strategy.
All right, let me move to Novaspace, Stefan Chenard. Stefan, how do you, what does your research in this area tell you, lead you to conclude about Starlink in the market?
Okay, to put this in broader context, Novaspace, first of all, is a firm of analysts and consultants. We have 150 people around the world who work on nothing but SATCOM and space issues. And Starlink is certainly one of the top suppliers that we look at. Maritime is one of the top markets. There's about 200,000 addressable vessels out there. About 40,000 of them have VSATs as opposed to L-band. A bunch of them have nothing. Right. And about 1/3 of the VSAT market has adopted Starlink. Sometimes as primary, sometimes as backup, sometimes as complement, but 1/3 in 2 years. So not a lot of vendors have grown so fast. The question is why? I mean, we've heard that it works, it's cheap, it's an easy solution to buy. It's one click. You don't have to navigate the website of one of 70 or 80 or 100 service providers to have a conversation with their sales engineer. You get your equipment in a pizza box and you install it yourself. And the shipping industry had been telling the satellite operators for more than a decade, please come up with an easy product that we don't have to mobilize a crane for 3 days to install your antenna. And they were not doing it. They were coming up with kit that was somewhat simpler, but they were not doing this. The assumption was that there were a couple, I think, of misplaced assumptions about the shipping industry. One was that telecommunications was so important to them that it's on 1% of the budget of a shipping company, but you can't live without that, right? And 1%, surely you can spend that. Guess what? The shipping industry is cheap. It's Dickensian. It's watching every penny. Right. It cares about putting VSATs only because if they don't do that and provide internet access to the crew walks. And so right now, the meat market for crew members is very tight because it's a tough job to have and people don't want to do that anymore. And so the shipping companies care about welfare, but they don't want to spend a ton of money. Number two, and it goes with it, they don't really care about SLAs because, again, it's not the assumption was that there are exceptions, obviously, but it's a high-quality industry. Of course you want an SLA. Well, duh. No, they don't. There's they lose containers, they lose ships, they strand crews. They do a lot of those 200,000 vessels. they run on extremely tight margins. Their focus is on shipping iron ore from Australia to China, nothing else.
Right.
So somebody comes to them with an easy and cheap solution, they all jump on it, absolutely.
All right, fair enough. Stefan, so if you're OneWeb, and then later on Telesat Lightspeed, and eventually Amazon Kuiper, and you're outside now looking in this window, this market, you'd say to them, forget it, game over, or not? I think you're already providing some OneWeb on some of your ships. Am I correct?
In North America.
In North America?
I mean, not in. It's not available in Asia Pacific yet.
But it's a maritime solution there in North America?
Sure.
Okay. What's your initial? Is your initial experience that it's okay or hard?
I don't know. I cannot tell you about OneWeb. But you know, the beauty of all those constellations is also we haven't talked about it, but latency is something that is special. In the oil and gas sector, they like this level of latency. So OneWeb can also be an alternative, but now the challenge is that you compare 800 satellite versus 8,000 satellite, and you compare a $2,000 antenna versus another terminal, which is much more expensive. So you also have the economics that are not in favor of Starlink competitors as of today. And the main reason is that because Starlink is actually subsidizing heavily their technology. So they have this advantage. I mean, they are owned by the richest man in the world. So they have this advantage of taking the market by subsidizing the equipment. So it's difficult for Starlink competitors. But there will be, I don't know about Lightspeed, because it's not available, but ultimately there will be alternatives. Now we need to see how it will compare to the incumbent, which is Starlink.
I think everybody got the message through. The playbook has been revealed, and there's a long list of Starlink customers who want an alternative. It's only getting longer as we speak, I suspect. There's the big question of the sustainability of that system. So they have, let's say they have 20,000 maritime customers. It's not even 5% of their total customer base. Doesn't move the needle for them. They're not going to do any extra effort. They're going to prioritize the core US broadband access market. That's where that's what keeps them alive, and keep launching satellites and burning money and so on. And if I'm a big shipping company, I have to wonder if they will still be there in 5 years, in 10 years. There's a lot of countries right now, because we cannot completely ignore that fact, that especially this morning, that Mr. Starlink, the one reason why the company is successful is that it's so publicly visible and it's so well marketed. But Mr. Starlink is going to be, apparently, a key element of a country that is going to start commercial wars with a lot of the other countries that he wants licenses from. And so if the Chinese come in to Thailand, for instance, which has $50 billion of exports to the US at stake, and they say, hey, we want a license. Look, we have a good product too, made in China, cheap, it works. Then it could be a different conversation for a lot of countries. And it's not a maritime conversation.
No, fair
but
enough.
maritime is in there, dragged along.
Okay, so conclusion, they're giving us the hook here. Your business now, both of your two businesses, you have not suffered in terms of your return to investors' equity. You have not, life is just as good for you now as it was before Starlink came in, and maybe better because now you're doing more volume of business. Is that fair?
Yes, actually our margins are higher than VSAT. But the main reason is because we consider satellite like electricity. Sorry.
As your CFO, your margin.
My boss is not happy. So no, so we consider that our value as service provider is to bring all this level of SLAs, all this level of response time, of recovery time. So we sell actually, our profit comes from our SLAs. It doesn't come from the connectivity itself. If we go just with connectivity, we don't make money. So we really try, we build a model where 99% of our profit come from our value-added services. And it works well. And that forced us actually to reinvent ourselves, because when we were selling space satellite as a service provider, we had actually very healthy profit just on reselling the megabit, which is not the case anymore. So we had to change that to do investment in people instead of teleport, do investment in NOC, having people available 24 hours per 7, do advanced replacement, building repair centers to help the customer instead of them shipping equipment to America. They can send it to us to our NOC in Cyberjaya or Subang, and then in Malaysia, for instance. Then it's value on customer pay for that.
This is what every service provider will tell you. And Starlink's shortcomings actually work for them, because this is where they can shine by bringing a fix.
Right, understood. Hisham, last word. Basically, how's your business in 2 years? You would say there's a lot more Starlink involved?
No, I think for us, because we already have some very long-term kind of commitment with satellite operators. So by hook by crook, we also need to sell the one that we already committed with our partners. So I think along the way, we still need to sell our GEO satellite to somehow complement Starlink. But I think just to emphasize on our market currently, Malaysia and Indonesia, they have a lot of fishermen vessel. It's not a big vessel, it's just small vessel. They need a very minimum throughput for basic communication again, and for the company to monitor their location, their fuel consumption. So this they won't need Starlink per se, because Starlink 100, 200 Mbps, they don't need that kind of.
Yeah.
So we are selling a small gyro for KU, KA, a very affordable pricing, and then they use that kind of services for the small fisherman vessels. So we target this kind of market, and still selling Starlink as we are authorized seller. In that sense.
Fair enough. All right, that's got to be the last word. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, audience. And we're ready to go.